Okay, so now we're going to look at the finish line of a CYO meet. There's lots of components to the finish line. There's lots of people involved, lots of responsibilities, from the clerk of the course to the starter, to the finish line judge, to the clock operator, to the timers, to the result recorders. So if everybody focuses on their tasks, we can have a really efficient run meet. So as we're going to do, we're going to look at an overview of the finish line. So the way it starts is the time slip supervisor is going to fill out the time slips in advance of the race. They're going to mark the gender, the division, the length of the race, and if it's a lane race, they're going to circle the lanes. If it's a place race, they're going to circle the places so they'll be ready when the athletes cross the finish line. So they'll mark lane 1, lane 2, lane 3, lane 4, as we see on the screen right now. As we get ready, the finish line judge is going to ask the clock operator if she's ready and give a white flag when things are up and running. Starter is going to give commands and the race will start, and the clock operator and the finish line judge will start their watch. As the athletes cross the finish line, they'll click their watch again or the buttons to stop the clock. As you see, the athletes will come back to the starting line, where the time slip supervisor distributes the time slips for the athletes in their respective lanes and then leads them to the results table. This is an indoor example, so hopefully the results table won't be that far away. As this is going on, the time slip runner takes the times from the clock operator to the results table.
What's your number? 760.
The result recorder takes the slip, asks the athletes their number, writes down their time and place on the results sheet by looking at the time slips from the clock.
Give that to your coach.
At this point, the clock should be reset and the next race should be ready to go.
Thank you, good job.
Give that to your coach.
Okay, now taking a step back. Before the race begins, we have the clerk of course, which will be assigning the athletes to the lanes, giving them instructions and rules for the race, as well as looking at uniforms and for infractions and reminding them of their uniforms, as well as getting the athletes to the starting line and ready for the race to begin. We have the time slip supervisor again that's preparing the slips for the race, circling that gender, division, race, and lane or place.
It's on the page.
There's a view of a completed and advanced slip. Finish line judge checks with the clock operator to make sure things are ready and gives a white flag to the starter. Here's a video of a start from a recent indoor meet, so you can see what happens once the white flag goes up. The starter is going to begin his commands. I remind you of this later, but look for the smoke or the flash of the gun at the start, because that's when you're going to start the clock, is when you see that float of smoke or flash. Back to our indoor simulation. Smoke is gone, the clock is started. The athletes are running. When the athlete's torso crosses the front edge of the line, finish line, that's when you click your buttons on the finish line. The athletes return to their lane. Time slip supervisor hands out the slips of the corresponding lane or place. Then I bet you know what happens next is she's going to walk them to the result table. At this point, as I said, the track should be ready for the next race. As I said, the time slip runner gets the times from the clock operator and takes them to the result table. The result recorder asks the athletes for their number, looks at the receipt for the time and the place of the athlete that's indicated, and writes it down on the slip and returns it to the athlete. Tell the athletes to give their slips to their coach, and you can move on to the next athlete.
Give that to your coach. Michelle? 701. Give that to your coach. Thank you.
We're going to see another start from a different angle. watch for the flash and the smoke from the gun because that's when the clock started. Okay, the clock was started on the flash and the smoke. The athletes race. The timers click the buttons as the athletes cross the finish line. The athletes return to the finish area in their lanes and are given the result slip if it's a lane race. If it's a timed race or a place race, the athletes may be lined up in their places off the track and given their sheets. They then go to the results table. The time slip runner delivers the results to the table. The clock operator resets the clock for the next race, and we have the results written on the time slips while the next race is going on. We turn it to the athlete and remind the athletes to give the slip to their coach.
What's your number? 701.
Thank you, good job.
Give that to your coach. Thank you.
Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this overview of the finish line.